Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Check, 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 check. You good? Good morning. How's everybody? You know, first let's start with the important stuff. I actually got, just in a matter of 15 seconds, got 2 warnings on this. And the first thing is it's an email or a text message. I've seen it both ways. And it says save the date, and it's going to have a name that you may recognize. So it might say save the date, Joe Trainer, save the date. Don't click on it. Don't. Seriously, if you don't know where an email is coming from, don't accept it. Because they've gotten really good about you click on it and all of a sudden it downloads into your phone, or it downloads into your computer. It sticks a virus in there, and all of a sudden you get that screen that beeps. And you know one of my favorite movies is, right? The Beekeeper. You see The Beekeeper? I can watch that movie over and over and over again. I kind of like a little bit of vigilante stuff. So be very careful on anything you click on, whether it's your phone. I got one the other day from Doge. Hey, Doge is waiting for you to pick up your refund. In 3 days, I got 5 text messages. So, is Doge sending you a refund? Everybody should say no, absolutely not. They're not. They're not sending you a refund. That is a scam for you to click on an email, click on the list, and what it's going to do is download stuff to your phone. So please, please, please. I've gotten a couple of them. You might want to be aware. Let residents know an invitation for a party going around. This invite is fake. It appears to be sent from others in your contact list as an invitation. We good? I want to make sure you understand. Please don't click on that. And then the other question, I'm going to do questions first. It appears that Crane's renovation has been scaled back and no longer includes the kitchen. We thought it was discussed in the past. Can you explain? Absolutely, I can explain. Is the difference between including the kitchen would extend that project out. I don't want to, and we want to be able to come up with different ways if we want to renovate the kitchen. The other thing about it is in our long-range plan, X number of years from now, I don't know what X is, that's why I used X number of years from now, that kitchen may not even exist. So do we want to go in there, spend a few $100,000 plus somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000 to do a kitchen that may not exist when we can make some small changes internally and make it work? Anybody remember the owners of the Chicago Bears? The McCaskies, yeah. You remember what Mike Ditka said about the owners of the Chicago Bears? They throw nickels around like they're manhole covers. It's kind of me. I kind of throw nickels around like they're manhole covers. I like to spend money where it's going to make the biggest difference. Doing back of the house stuff that won't make a huge difference doesn't make sense. There is another update in regards to Cranes. What we are doing is we're looking at renovating the salad bar. The salad bar in its current form is in great condition, so what we're doing is instead of using ice to refrigerate stuff, what we want to do is we want to put refrigeration equipment underneath there to be able to chill stuff. We also want to be able to serve an expanded menu of maybe some hot items that you may like. And then we want to move the soup crock out to the salad bar so you can go get your own soup. Okay? So there's some other things that we're trying to do to enhance your dining experience. Yes, we would hope, we're looking at, we've already got the schematics to be able to run wiring from the panel to run power to the salad bar. So that's been taken care of. We're just getting final bids on the inserts for that equipment. Again, it's to make your life easier, make it better, and to enhance your dining experience. So there's a lot of things. We haven't met in too long, and this presentation is in excess of 130 slides. Am I going to cover every single one? Absolutely not. But one of the things that was shared with me is that I couldn't make the July meeting, so I sent out the presentation and I gave it to you in kind of a semi-edited form that I would share with the board of directors. And that presentation is normally pretty long. This one is pretty long. If you want to go and you want to go to Cubigo and you want to look through it yourself, you're welcome to do so. The VPs and managers worked very hard to get me this information so we can put it in a form that you can digest and you can kind of see what's going on. Now, we try to be as transparent as we possibly can. Other things, it's just maybe we can't share it, but we can't share it right now. It's because we're trying to create a little bit of a distinct advantage. Remember, this goes out to YouTube. All our competition sees what we send out on YouTube. And I would challenge them to do the very same thing. Are they as open and transparent with their residents, even potential residents on YouTube, as we are? And I think we all know the answer to that, right? First things first, I know I had a sheet of paper with me. This is where you can go ahead and you have questions, JKV Live at johnknox.com. Call 386-456-1558 or text 386-507-4236. I want to address this too because this is, I received a couple of letters from your peers about the gathering place and about the rumor in regards to the gathering place. There are sometimes I have conversations about spaces and what can we do better with those spaces. As you know, I didn't pull any punches. We're closing the bay dining room. So that leaves the bay dining room open for, what are we going to use that for? That was originally a resident space, so I plan on keeping it a resident space. As I was sharing ideas with the Executive Committee of Resident Council, I shared one of the things we could do is we want to do a better job for our employees. And I want to explain this because this isn't Joe just haphazardly or randomly deciding he wants to take a place and slide the rug out from underneath residents. It's not what that's about. We want to do a better job. John Knox wants to do a better job for our employees in the meals that we provide to them. I think we can do that, and I think we can do it very, very well. One of the items is, of course, is providing a meal while they're here at work. They don't have access to the grill like you do. The hours are very limited. And in fact, I have to beg if I want lunch between 11:30 and 1, I have to beg for them to kind of give me an opportunity to get lunch. Now, the thought is if we kind of carved out the wall, we were going to make some adjustments in the scoop, we could provide a hot lunch for our employees, and they could use where currently the gathering place is to pick up the lunch. We would kind of change that into a coffee bar or a little quick grab and go to expand the offerings not only to yourselves, but also to our employees. Now, you're not going to fault me. I know how you are. I see what you give to the employees. You don't fault me for that. It's the communication on that, and before I could even finish getting it out of my mouth, I thought about it for a few weeks, and I killed the project. What got out was Joe's trying to do this. So let me be transparent about what the plan B is. So the plan B is we want to make sure that we as employees don't infringe on resident dining. What plan B is we want to go ahead and use the bistro. Now listen to the whole story, don't jump in there. There is a serving window on the patio of the bistro. Anybody who's eaten there knows that's where the window is. We can put more resources there, and we can provide a hot lunch for our employees to be able to grab. They go up to the serving window, they pay for it, get their lunch, and they leave. They never have to be in the building. They never intrude on resident space. And they are there for a minute or two, and then they're gone. They don't eat on the patio. They have plenty of other areas that they can eat. I think that's a better plan than me cutting through a wall at the scoop, going into the gathering place, and taking that space. Would you agree? That is plan B. That is the one that is currently on the table. That's why sometimes I don't always share what my thoughts are, because I may be thinking in it one day, and the next day is something completely different. We good? And as Catherine Mitchell has quoted me, is that fair? I saw you sitting back there. All right, Val, anybody who doesn't know what the Village Alert line is? Good. Don't unsubscribe to the Village Alert line. It is hurricane season. We want to make sure we get information out to you timely. There is a lot of brewing and stewing in the Atlantic, and I'm just going to tell you, we're coming into the really the strong part of the season. So we'll see where we go, but we are anticipating we may have a couple of overnights. The reality is that staff is ready, we're ready to move, and we push out a lot of updates in the Village Alert line. And important reminders, I'm going to go through these rather quickly. Pets and guest units, no. If you have somebody who's a guest of yours and they're staying in one of the units in the Commons building or the apartment building, and they have a pet, the pet cannot stay with them. They cannot stay with them. So we don't allow pets in guest units. We're going to try to do a better job to see if somebody who's coming to visiting is going to do that, and we will make sure that we head them off at the pass and let them know that they can't do that. Fax and copying is available 9:30 to 4:30, 10 cents per page. For copies, if you're faxing, it's $1 per page. That's what all that just told you, okay? False investment scams. We just covered scams of clicking, and they're getting better, and they're getting better and better at it. Ponzi schemes and investments. There was I remember his first name was Chris, and I don't remember what his last name was. He did a massive Ponzi scheme for billions of dollars, and he's in Orlando, and they finally caught him. But if you like to do your own investments, just go through a legitimate agency to do your own investments. Go with somebody. There's enough good people out there. You don't need to buy penny stocks or other schemes. And bank scams. There are credit card scams. I got a credit card through the mail that I didn't even order. I called the company, and they had no idea how I got the credit card. Really. Your information is out there on the internet, the World Wide Web. There are a number of different products. I will probably next month, I will have some of those products that you may want to subscribe to that kind of scrubs yourself. I know Cloak is one. Almost everybody, TransUnion has one. Experian has one to be able to scrub your information, and it removes you from the World Wide Web, because there have been enough personal information your personal information's been stolen hundreds of times. Everybody has it. I can look you up and I can tell you where you live. I can tell you more about you and your past than it ever. Remember, the internet records everything. So please be careful. FedEx and UPS ground packages can be dropped off at Jackie at 300 Trafford. Everybody knows Jackie Martinez. All FedEx Express packages must be taken directly to the Office Depot or to another FedEx shipping location. Notary assistants. We have a number of people on staff that are notaries. If you do, call and ask to see if they can notarize it. You must bring your own witness. We cannot provide witnesses for you. The reason I ask you to call to make an appointment is because there are some things we just cannot notarize. And then make sure your guests, visitors and guests, are wearing their blue lanyards so they're easily identifiable. This is the fun stuff. Is independent living. Occupancy is 94.9. This was as of, it's actually July 31st. 94.9 with 8 additional deposits. Cottages, 279 out of 288 with 6 deposits. Apartments, 70 out of 86. You know, the great thing about it is two of those numbers are inverse. The smaller number of apartments we have, the more occupancy goes up in there. I like that. If you're looking at it and say, Joe, I remember a year ago that said 100, or over a year ago there were 100 apartments. Right. What we're doing is we're combining apartments, making them bigger. If you haven't seen them, they do look pretty phenomenal. In villas, 141 out of 142 for 99.3, but that's a deposit on that. Oakview Suites, 47 out of 49. Oak Haven, 42 out of 64. And Majestic Oaks, 115 out of 150. This is where I do my plug. Nicole Vega next Wednesday is going to be doing a coffee with. She's going to share some really good information about how we're going to help you transverse healthcare. Meaning, how do you go from where you are and you stay within our system so we can kind of keep an eye on you. If you don't know, you represent a good percentage of the population in Orange City of older adults. Surprise? Any hospital, any rehab hospital, any provider would love to get on campus and solicit to you. The other thing is, and I can tell you, we watch very carefully. We watch the relationships we build due to they want to be able to get access and they want to solicit from you. So while it may make sense for us to have a relationship with a certain hospital, remember, they raise money too. And who's the biggest giving? Who makes the biggest gifts? If you were to say older adults, you'd be right. So we want to be careful. We want to be careful with that. But next Wednesday at this same time, Nicole Vega will do a presentation. Please, if you don't get a chance to attend, put it on your calendar to watch it. You're going to have a lot of questions. I'm going to go through this rather quickly. Again, occupancy 94.9. Year-to-date connected calls of almost 1,700. Sales year-to-date is 36. Move-ins 29. The one thing that we're real proud about is year-to-date highlights. We have 11 buyers just this year that were able to take advantage of the military discount. It's a good number. EU mail blasts, we kind of track that number of clicks, the open rate and the number of clicks. 42.5 is the open rate. The industry standard, that's above the industry standard. So that means Shannon is doing a pretty good job for us. That's a good plug. Oak Haven, you probably start seeing us flood the market a little bit more with information about Oak Haven Memory Care and what we're doing there. Social media, this is the fun stuff where you kind of get to geek out. 14,500 views, which you look at it, it's 28.7% down, but look at what they did last month, and was that an up month? So you can't look at 1 month and say, hey, it was a bad month. It's not a bad month. We're getting better than 14,000 clicks. What's the population of Orange City? Not a bad number. We're community outreach, home health, Oakview Suites, Oak Haven, and Majestic Oaks is what we're currently putting a lot of our promotion. The reason being is we started out doing marketing calls, cold marketing calls, calling on doctors' offices. We're starting to do lunch and learns. We go to specific, if there's a specialist office that we're going to, we do those also. We try to do that a couple of times a week. We want to make a connection with the city of Orange City better, and there's a lot of reasons for that, which watch Nicole's presentation next week. Accounting, just little fun stuff. PBJ, everybody knows what PBJ is, right? Yeah, I didn't think you did. It was a quiz. It's payroll-based journaling. What does that mean, Joe? PB didn't clarify it any more than what you said before. The staffing that we have in skilled nursing at Majestic Oaks automatically takes our payroll and it sends it to CMS. So we can't say that our staffing was this particular level. No, they go right off our payroll. And why is that important? Because staffing at Majestic Oaks, out of a 1 to 5 stars, how many stars do you think we have? 5. 5 would be the correct number. So we're going to get into that a little bit more, but so you can't fudge. They automatically transmit the information from your payroll to them, and they look at everybody's information. So there's no more fudging your numbers, because then they sort through it and make sure that it's validated. So we throw that on there just to make sure that it keeps us honest. Workers' comp audit. We're in the process of that. We sent all our information in June. We're just waiting to have a conversation with them. The employee retirement audit, we give 3%, up to 3% to our employees. If they contribute 6%, it's 50% up to 3% of their salary is what it looks like. So if they give 6%, we match it with 3% all the way through. So we've had that match in place forever. What do other companies do? Larger healthcare companies may do a little bit more, but most do less. So 3% is what we help our employees with towards their retirement. As I like to tell them, it's free money. They should be saving. 990 tax returns, that would be done for both JKV and the foundation. That'll be more towards the fall that is actually completed, but those are in process. Annual budget. Well, we met with the board last night. Tune in for September for what that meeting was about. So this presentation is meant for the board, but it also lets you know that while we have our numbers, we will be kind of fine-tuning our numbers and our allocations as we go through our budget until almost December 31. December 31, we try to stop. Meal Suite, this is the point of sale transaction. I know there's been some kind of kickback. We're in the process of, I was given some questions this week in regards to this workflow and you making reservations on it. How does that all look? We've decided we're going to still go through with it. We're going to see how we can bridge the gap between Cubigo and Meal Suite and making that work. But I just signed off on the equipment purchase for Meal Suite, and I believe, I'm going to guess they said September 1, but I'm not going to hang my hat on that. HR, this is where I get to geek out. The number of employees, this kind of gives you an idea. We have a total, I think, 655 employees. That's what we've been running. This is the breakdown of those 655 employees. One of the things I asked the VPs to do is to make their slides a little bit bigger. What they try to standardize the font at 20 fonts so you can see it better. So I'm going to ask you, can you see that font better? Yes, good. And while some of it is light, you may not be able to see all of it. Most of it is legible. So 229 employees at Majestic Oaks, 8 employees between the clinic, rehab, ARNP, and that represents about 1%. And then this is the breakdown of our other departments. Now, housekeeping and laundry, while there's not a lot of people necessary in laundry, there are a lot of people in housekeeping. We are currently trending to an annual turnover of 18.08, which is less than what we did last year at 20.38. I'm going to just tell you that's a phenomenal number. I'll take that number every year. The average turnover is normally, and you'll see it at the bottom, average turnover is 35.4 for 2026 Ziegler. So while you were sleeping, we continue to work on our employee relationships. I do a quarterly town hall with our employees. A lot of this very same information is shared with them so they kind of understand the impact that they have. Thrilled with those numbers, 80% year-to-date retention. Oak Haven, does it seem like I'm going through this rather quickly? Well, I want to get to the end because there's some updates at the end I want to be able to take some time and share. This is just Oak Haven. It's a new product. We are in the process of John Knoxingism, if that's a phrase. Getting them used to the way what we refer to as the John Knox way. We do things a certain way. We like them done that way, and we've had success doing them that way. So sometimes they're resistance, sometimes they're people who have decided that I want to try to be successful elsewhere, and we grant them that opportunity. This is Elvira. This is the VP of HR geeking out. So anybody who's done HR, this is Elvira. You gotta love her. I mean, she does track a bunch of different metrics. Process improvement, you'll see that ACA background is above what she loves it between 3 and 5 days. It's at 7 days. Everything in green is good. Now, where this comes from is leaders are readers. And I bang on management, I bang on leadership all the time. Leaders are readers. If you've there's some really phenomenal books. I'm not going to go off on a complete tangent, but this is the one I've liked, and this is one I've liked for the last 7 or 8 years. The book is called Traction. It's by an author called Gino Wickman. And for people who are in business and like to be able to balance things, that is the book that we use at John Knox to be able to measure these things. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. You'll hear the very same thing from all my leadership. You can't measure it, you can't manage it. I like to be able to know if I'm doing well or not doing well. All these reports is our measures of that we're doing well. There is good, there's bad, and sometimes there's really ugly. These are things that VP, and Elvira specifically, manages to be able to put. There's an indicator. She measures this on a monthly basis. So this report comes to me on a monthly basis. So the whole idea, if we look at ACA background check, and she wants 3 to 5 days, and it's at 7 days, what was the problem? Well, it's not anything we did. We submitted it timely. We do a root cause analysis. We submitted it timely, and it's on ACA's side. Well, because some people that we hired were from out of state, so they had to reach out beyond the state of Florida to get additional information. Does that make sense? All right, we continue to do recruiting. We did, on the 12th, we did ECPI. On the 21st, we're doing an on-campus event. If I remember correctly, that's Friday. We're doing an on-campus event. We've had some tremendous success doing on-campus events. It's been fun. And then on September 30th, we're doing Bethune-Cookman. This is just workers' comp. Our total so far this year incurred, our year for workers' comp runs from April 1st to March 31st. So there's not a lot of information, but it gives you the number of claims. It gives you the breakdown of what's happened and our loss ratio. Why is this important? Our experience, our MOD ratio is 0.80. That means like-kind facilities and organizations like us, our experience is 80% of what theirs is. Is that good or bad? I would say it's good too. That we're doing, if you want to measure it, and it's not the way they measure it, you want to say we're doing 20% better, that's what you would say. So while their experience rate might be 1, which is the industry standard, ours is 0.8. We're running 80% of what they do. Again, stuff that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Just little fun stuff. You just can see that all the stuff is green. Frequency of claim rate, average cost per medical claim, loss ratio. Now, Mitch, the pharmacist, decided to jump in the group, decided to give me numbers I can use. This is Majestic Oaks. We're going to go through a number of different departments. We'll probably send this in a little bit different form. You'll see if you look and you say it's 2% versus prior month. I need to go back and give you some historical data, which I will do in the month of September, to let you know whether this month is actually high or low. So next time we meet, I'll give you some more information. But 145 residents, 2,010 scripts. Oakview Suites, 41, 523 scripts. Oak Haven, 41, 343 scripts. Independent Living, we serve 216 residents, 735 scripts. Who's our target? You are. You're my target. How can I get to serve more of you? Now I know some of you are on certain plans and you can't. Some of you get 90-day mail order and I can't match that in any way, shape, or form. I understand that. But we're coming into open enrollment. You might want to go down and have a conversation with either Mitch or Callie to see if we can help you. Did you know we deliver to your home? We drop it off and we bring it to your home. I know that because they run upstairs and lay it on my desk. And when I was over here, they brought it over to me. So we deliver it to you. That's the cost and the price that we incur to be able to do that. If we can help you, all I ask is let us give it a shot. Employees, 98 employees served, 243 scripts. And yes, all my scripts for myself and my family go through Oak Park. Village totals 541 patients, 3,854 scripts. Clinical services. Now, what does this tell you? Wow. Let me explain it to you. This is Majestic Oaks. The 5-star rating for the state of Florida just came out. Nursing Home Compare. I am sharing this because in health inspections, staffing, and quality measures, Majestic Oaks is 5 stars. There are only 3 other nursing centers in a 100-mile radius that are 5 stars. It's a big deal, folks. This is phenomenal. So when you talk about the quality of care that we give, we don't skip on staffing. We do the best we can to manage quality, and health inspections are 5-star. Those are the other communities within that 100-mile radius. You can go do this yourself. You go to CMS Compare, click on 5 stars, put in 32763. Majestic Oaks will be the first one to pop up. You click through the tabs, the dark lines, and you're going to click Health Inspections 5-star, Staffing's 5-star, Quality Measures 5-star. Click the range for 100 miles. You can go farther if you want, but within a 100-mile radius, there are 4 of us. Majestic Oaks is 1. That's a pretty big deal. The others, Mayflower, Westminster, St. Augustine, and Fleet Landing. All right, outpatient therapy, 56, occupational therapy, 27 to speech. Outpatient therapy is doing a phenomenal job this year, so thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you didn't know, Chris Rivera, PTA, went and got a certification. It is Power Moves. It is to focus on Parkinson's. And so that is, he took that upon himself. Yes, we do reimburse him for the class that he took because it helps make him more marketable and it helps him expand what he's able to do. So if you see Chris, give him a pat on the back and tell him thank you. Congratulate him on his new certificate. Home health, 41 skilled patients, 339 visits, and that is the patient breakdown. PTA is 109, all the way down to speech is 2. And this is private, 71 duty, private duty census, 1,075 visits, and that too is the breakdown. Career ladder. I don't know if I talked about this it was in previous presentations. I don't know if I talked about it last time we were together. What we thought would help us is we create a career ladder for employees coming within John Knox. And that would take them into healthcare. What's our biggest need? If you were to say healthcare, because we're a healthcare company, you would be right. Between Majestic Oaks, Oakview Suites, Oak Haven, home health, skilled and private, pharmacy, there's a lot of employees that we employ in that particular area. So what we decided to do is we decided a career ladder. We'd bring in, let's call her Susie, has no skill set. We'll do certain education as she meets her educational requirements over that 150 days. The reason we have broken down 150 days, each step she makes, she gets an increase in pay, all the way to becoming a CNA and moving into that. Other item we do with that is we will pay of 3 different tracks if they want to go through CareerSource and get training through CareerSource, which is free to them, free to us. We welcome them to do that. But we will also pay for them to go to Cambridge CNA class. It's a 5-week class, 3 times a week. We will pay that. It's $1,500 we pay for them to go to class. For them to take the class. When they get done, they graduate, they get their certificate, we will give them a $750 bonus. That's 1 track. That's a 2 between CareerTrack and Cambridge. The 3rd track is allowing people to do a CNA quick track, which is they study on their own. If they have some experience in healthcare, they study on their own, and they go ahead in a matter of 5 weeks, they take the CNA exam. They feel like they can do it, we'll help them the best we possibly can. If they pass, we give them a $500 bonus. Why? Why is 500 less? Well, there's less effort. You probably have more experience. We sort people out and allow them that opportunity to grow with the organization. And even if they don't stay with us, there is a caveat, there is a hook that they have to stay a year. Otherwise, they have to pay the tuition back. But that's a pretty easy requirement. So now you have somebody who coming in at $15 an hour in less than 6 months can be making $16.50 an hour and have a career, have a certificate, and move on to nursing, where we have both tuition reimbursement and we offer scholarship opportunities. So this is a career ladder that we decided to put together for healthcare. It is now built into our budgets for next year. And while we don't necessarily say we see a ton of people going through it, staffing needs at Majestic Oaks never end. And ultimately, we want to continue to be able, this is to continue to feed that 5-star for staffing at Majestic Oaks. Medical response, they responded to 93, 28 falls. 28 falls. Are you guys helping your neighbors get up off the ground? Don't help them get off the ground. Physicians clinic, this just kind of breaks it down. There are 142 resident visits, 42 employee visits, follow-up labs 6, new patients 9, 190 total visits. Some pretty good numbers, considering twice a week she also goes to Majestic Oaks, Oak Haven, and Oakview. I'm going to skip this for now. We already discussed that, Majestic Oaks. We also created it from part of our career ladder. We also made a bridge the gap with Cambridge. We have the new LPN preceptor program. PAM, everybody knows PAM Health. You know you have a choice, right? You know you can say no. Yeah. I'm going to pause on it for a minute. The LPN preceptor program for Cambridge, what we do is we're a clinical site. The whole idea behind becoming a clinical site is most LPNs get hired in long-term care. Not all, but a good portion of them do. So we're giving them the opportunity to get some clinical experience. We're also giving them an opportunity to come and try out John Knox during their clinical experience to see if they want to become an employee. We've reached out, we've become clinical partners with Woodland Towers and Deltona Grand Villas. And there is a partnership, a newly formed Core Q, which will do satisfaction surveys, feedback surveys at Majestic Oaks. That was one of the new requirements that came down for CMS, is doing satisfaction surveys. And we created a partnership with Core Q to do those for us. And Majestic Oaks, Oakview Suites are still preparing for surveys. This is assisted living. Some of the fun stuff that they've done there, 75 interacted Elmo board is coming soon, and they're preparing for an unannounced visit. Give you just a second to go through that. Did you know we're renovating Oakview Suites? The intent is we're going to take it room by room. We're going to go ahead and renovate the rooms, give them a much better look. It's great space. Oakview Suites rooms are great space. We're going to go in, do bathrooms, give it a good appearance, go down the hallways, get rid of the wallpaper that's been there since I think Jesus was a baby. And we're going to brighten up the colors, change the carpet, and do some better, make it a much, much better appearance than what it is. The board has already approved it as a project. We're going to get into other projects in just a couple of seconds here, but that is something that we'll be trying to finalize and send to ACA. Since it is healthcare, They have to have their particular say on it. Oak Haven, we're doing all kinds of stuff there. We're working on the generator. We achieved 100% compliance with Elder Care Affairs. And we're looking at replacing the call system. Again, something we'll get into in a second. And this is just a recap of Sarah Tracy and some of the services that she offers. Home Health is offering 4, 8, 12, 16, and 24 extended hours. That should be nothing new to you. Campus Services. Now you're going to say, Joe, this is only September. They work a month in advance, so you get to see the dates. There's a lot of really good stuff here. So, and don't forget, football season is coming. I will be unavailable. Just some of the entertainment. And some of the fitness items. The Balance and Fall Prevention Week is September 21st through the 25th. You are not allowed to fall. That is a pilot program that we have. If nobody falls during that week, then you can do it all the time, right? Culinary Services is Anthony. Some great things that they've been working on. Anthony's only been here since December. He has done a phenomenal job for us. I know you may not necessarily always agree with the direction that he's going, but sometimes you have to go through some of the woods to get to the other side to where you need to be. Metaphorically speaking, there are going to be some tough times and some rough times, but I like the direction that he's headed and some of the things that he's doing. Wine flights, that has been very, very well received. We plan on continuing wine flights. The Crane Restaurant renovations. Now, I just want to know, we worked with the resident committee. Do you know what color they picked for the walls? They picked alabaster. The carpet is blue. It is bluer than the carpet in here. I hope you guys like blue. I hope you do, because you know what? You can't blame me for this one. Now, come on, you all saw it coming, didn't you? We modified the color slightly, but you won't be able to tell that I modified a tone of the color. But obviously, we've got new chairs that are coming in. The carpet will be replaced, new paint. I think they've done a great job on the first level of the Commons building. If nothing else, I should hear a round of applause for getting rid of the plastic plants. The Scoop, he's done a nice job of adding some different things. If there are things that you would like to see that we give you an opportunity to purchase out of Scoop, just let us know. I think the jams, the butters, the sauces are all been a great addition. They've been doing pretty well. I know we had a nice introductory price. So that's all kind of stuff. Bistro. Did you know that he changed the menu? This is just a little fun dig on my part, okay? And it's a fun dig at Dem, of all people. He changed the menu in the bistro. And utilization is up almost, let's call it 70%. It's 68.75%. That is more meals served. You know what doesn't sell? The vegetarian hot dog. You buy it? Well, all right. Well, then I'll not take it off the menu because you're the only one that's buying it. All right. I'll leave it alone for now. But now watch there be a run on vegetarian hot dogs. Well, that was the whole idea of bringing it up. Now if I get a run on vegetarian hot dogs. All right. Restaurant visits, community, John Knox's experience, 11.46. Here's, strategically, this is what we're doing. I'm just going to tell you what our strategy is. At the first part of the month, our strategy is to offer you some really nice opportunity selections at special meals. He did the tilefish. He did the copperhead salmon. The whole idea is for you to attend dining at the beginning of the month so we don't get hit so hard at the end of the month with all of you trying to use up all your dining dollars. Okay, now you know the strategy. I want you to enjoy meals 30 days out of the month, not just at the end of the month. So you're going to see us try to do more things like the tilefish. Now, I'm just going to tell you, it's not about making money. It is about moving the whole crowd from the end of the month to kind of spread them out more towards the month. So you're going to see us do some more of those things. Watch for them. Some of them are not always advertised in the weekly or may not go out, so you'll have to look for it and say, let me see, let me go check what's going on. It's to force you to look. Now, both the copperhead salmon and the tilefish went over extremely well, paired with a wonderful wine, and I didn't hear a peep from anybody that it was a bad meal. So if you had it as a bad meal, I didn't hear from you, and that door has closed. So that's the whole strategy. Now you know my strategy. Now you can either work with me or make me come up with another strategy. It's up to you. But a lot of the stuff that's gone into bistro, a lot of stuff that's gone into the different dining venues, I like what he's been doing. Dining satisfaction scores, you see this all the time. It's 95.29. Cranes was 96. Grill was 95.64. That's the graph for the Cranes. You guys know this stuff. I mean, the problem is that it never really, I think one time it got below 95 or hit 95 in October for Cranes. And the Grill just took a dive. I haven't looked into that yet, but I will. And that's what they look like combined. Those are pretty good satisfaction numbers. Now, please understand, I understand the numbers as well as you do. 5%. We serve 20,000 meals a month. 5%, even though satisfaction rate is 5, there's still 5% of those meals that people are unhappy with. I understand that. Are we going to be perfect and have 100% every single dining visit? Well, I'm sure glad you said that. I was kind of getting worried throwing my neck out on the line like that. No, we're not. We're not going to be perfect. Somebody's going to screw something up, and unfortunately, it's going to be somebody, it's going to be you. We're not. But give us an opportunity to make it right. Give us the opportunity to make it right. May not be perfect, but give us an opportunity to make it right. All right, this is where the fun stuff comes. I'm just going to go. Did you know we installed 40 new trees? All right. Those are some of the new southern oak and the new palms. We continue to work on turf. Here's our dilemma. We've got two companies that say the exact opposite of each other. They looked at the same soil results. One says this, the other says that. They can't even agree. And we just thought we'd get a second, you go and get a second opinion. It's like going to the doctor telling him, he's telling you this other doctor tells you something completely different. There's still a problem. Which problem am I trying to solve? You will see that we're going to do some aeration. We're also going to buy our own aerator. Board approved that last night as part of our ongoing soil maintenance programs. I want to get through this. So we are paying the first application. We're going to have it done. We're going to do Valencia, and then we're going to go and we're going to buy our machine and then do the rest of the community. It's going to cost. We want to see how well it works. Our guys want to see how the machine works, kind of get an education on it, and then we're going to be purchasing our own equipment. This is the information where they just don't agree. So feel free to look at this. We purchased 4 new trucks. You probably haven't seen them yet because Mark is not here, and Mark wants to be the one to roll them out. We bought 4 new Nissans for the grounds maintenance guys. So you'll see those. We're going to retire 4 of our Ford F-150s, and we're going to put them up for sale. We're going to offer them to our employees for sale. We're going to give them for a good price. We don't need to make money on them. However, any proceeds that come from those vehicles, half will go to the employee scholarship program. The other half will go to employee appreciation. Okay? So you can't say Joe used that money for, no. Half goes to employee scholarship, the other to employee appreciation. Here's where the fun stuff starts, the courtyards. Courtyards at Oak Haven. If you've been over there, we need to make those look better. And so the courtyards are planned. We're going to artificial turf the entire courtyard except for the walks, make it far more friendly, far more safe for the residents there, so we don't have to drag lawnmowers through the building to go ahead and cut the grass. That is set for September. Exterior painting. The board approved a project. We will be painting the outside, the exterior buildings, that is the apartment buildings, the Barker Center, Commons building, all will get a brand new coat of paint. We just need to decide on what color. And after we've gotten the results of the resident committee on the colors for the dining room, I think I'm going to get another committee. I'm teasing. Relax. I'm teasing. But we are going to come up with a kind of a color palette for the buildings to see, so all those buildings will get a new coat of paint. I'm going to guess we will work on that project. Will start sometime in the fall. It could start sooner if we get the colors selected. Oak Haven, we went and refurbished 15 rooms in Oak Haven, kind of made them better look. There were some things that just didn't settle well, and as rooms come open and there's an opportunity, we're going to go back and redo them. They have dark blinds, and then they had a dark cabinet behind the toilet, and I'm just not a dark person as far as furniture. So we've kind of lightened that up. We've put all new blinds in the rooms, and we're changing the cabinet behind the toilet, along with putting some quarter round on the floor to kind of seal those up a little bit better and present much, much better. So there are some things that we continue to do there. Commons renovation, Barker Center fire alarm, that's being replaced. As we go through the Commons building and we're doing work and hitting those areas, we replace electrical panels. Those panels have been there for, I don't know if I'd be wrong if I said 50 years, but I could be incorrect. So I'm going to say 30 years. I know that they've been there for 30 years. And so we're just going to go ahead and we've replaced those electrical panels because you know as well as I do, you get heat buildup. Floribunda, 18A and B Floribunda. We have an issue with the foundation on 18A and B Floribunda. So you'll see Ramjack out there working to raise that foundation like we did on the 3rd floor assisted living. And finally, I'm hoping on September 1st I get to celebrate the tabletops at the patio on Valencia. That has been Gatehouse 2. It has been a nightmare. So we just approved granite tops for the tables, and those will be getting installed. Commons renovation, you've been through that. Oak Haven, we just talked about that. Oakview Suites, we kind of talked about that. Campus painting, we talked about that. Commons, Oakview Suites, Audubon, Bay, Citrus, Barker Center. Those are the painting bids, $250,000. So you can see that we do our work. We didn't take the lowest bid. These are some of the new equipment that you'll see coming around. Forklift, scissor lift, in the high reach lift, coming down the pike. We are working on adding to electrical lightning protection, not electrical, lightning protection on the buildings. We have lightning protection on the buildings, excuse me. However, with the latest storm that hit and wiped out a bunch of stuff, I'm not sure, I'm guessing $25,000, $30,000 is what we incurred in expenses from lightning strikes. And of course, it has to go after the motherboard in the Citrus elevator. And yes, it's got surge protection and lightning protection on that. Tabletops, we discussed that. Facilities. We're going to go through this real quick. IT, those guys do a great job. This is where I want to be. Oh, and I'm at an hour. I've run out of time. All right, here's an update. This is update on 10 acres. We refer to the project, we're currently referring to the project as 10 Acre Woods. And no, it's not where Winnie the Pooh's going to live. This is the design. Actually, we had another building here. As we talked and we go through it, we have decided instead of going with villas, we're going to put carriage houses. What is a carriage house, Joe? Carriage house is underneath the building is podium parking. All the parking is accessible under the building. There are apartments on the second floor and on the third floor. Yes, we would have to probably get a slight variance because we're going to go over 35 feet for that particular area. Each building will have anywhere from 12 to 16 apartments. Why? Why would they have so many? Well, the density on that property is 80 units. It's 10 acres. We're allowed 8 per. That's where we get 80 units. So we have to balance that out. As you look at statistics, why there is a need now for our community, as we look at people in their, let's call it their financial prowess in the future, people either can't or don't want to afford a new home, and so what they do is they rent. And future generations may decide they don't want to necessarily do a buy-in. Don't listen to what I'm saying, not what we're doing. We're not changing to a rental community. And I'll repeat that. We are not changing to a rental community. However, we may need to set ourselves up in the future to be able to accommodate people at market rate. Here's how that works. You pay an entrance fee, you pay $2,500 a month. They don't pay an entrance fee, and they pay $4,000 a month. So one way or another, you have to pay for it. We're not sure how that works, and we want to be able to extend our shelf life as an organization, and this is part of a bigger strategy of what that looks like. That is the future when I'm long gone. However, currently, that 10 acres, we can put carriage houses. So I'm just going to kind of run through this to show you what those would look like. On that 10 acres, we would have a nice big green space, and we believe we would put a pond, and we would put a pond in the middle. Again, there'd be cover parking underneath the building, and then you would have to take an elevator, 2 elevators per or 4 elevators per building, depending on what that looks like, to go to the second and the third floor. The thing about it is that's not the way we would have them. All those buildings would actually face the center pond area, so you get a good look. And I'll tell you which design, but if you look at the bottom, that's kind of what those buildings would look like. You'd have a balcony, if you will. It's not going to be a huge balcony, but it's a balcony. Gives you an opportunity to overlook and look out the green. Now, for the people that are on Valencia, before you panic and say, hey, I'm down at the end of Valencia Drive, and they're going to be seeing in my yard, the board has already kicked my butt on that. No, they won't. There are trees. They went themselves and verified there are trees, and no, those trees have no plans on moving. We would, what about a hedge? Oh, we're not moving that. Nope. No, it is, and it's just to provide greater access. Currently, we will not, for construction purposes, they won't even be coming through this is on the corner of Rose and Levitt. Okay? We will provide a construction entrance either off of Rose or off of Levitt. So they won't be coming through the village and smashing down the new paved roads that we have and compressing the asphalt. That is not the intent. We would give that a construction entrance there. That just kind of gives you just a little bit different design. Shows you what they would look like. You can kind of see the balconies on the front and on the corners. Now, you'll see this one is the one that was X'd out. The one that's got the red X on it that is what the board, we originally talked about 6. We would go to 5 units. Why? We want to be able to create a nice green space on that 10 acres. Figure that would expand that green space. So that's the one we would take out. So if it looks like a U, you come and you see it as a U, that's exactly what it would look like. With a nice pond in the middle, and then that, where the X is, would be green space. And you'll see at the top, that was the board requested design. I'm going to let you digest that. We tried to mimic what Valencia Landing, the units that look up at Valencia Landing, what those look like. Nope. We'll expend dining hours. No, they will have, the only amenities, they will have, I've gotten some great advice from some of you in regards to what this looks like. Internally, there would be a lobby on the first floor, maybe a small lobby on the second, or a small lobby on the first floor to be able to go up in the elevators. There would be a lobby on the second and third floor, but then it's units. The unit range would be somewhere between 1,100 and 1,800 square feet. All would have 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Why? Because that's what everybody's wanting. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Now, some would have another guest room, or could have an office. We've looked at it. We've looked at a number of different things. Yes, sir.
It appears that there, on your drawings, that there'll be entrances on Lakeview and Rose. Is that what you're proposing?
No, the only access to that property will be the entrance off of Valencia Landing. Nope. Now, long term, could that be, if that changes? Yes. We want to be able to make sure that we would be able to have access to either Rose or Levitt. Should in the future we want to expand it like that, we certainly would. But that is down the road, 20, 30 years down the road. That's what it looks like from a different view. This is from the southwest side, looking at the property. So the road in front of you at the bottom part of the screen here would be Levitt, and Rose would be at the top. It's kind of just a figuration. Okay? So now you can't say I didn't share it with you. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a time frame for any of this?
Yesterday. Her question is, do I have a time frame for this? We are currently in the process of, the board has approved the project. We are working through our the construction development contract. I just received it on Friday, so there's some things I need to edit in that. So then we will begin doing development. While we would like to say that we would break ground sometime April of next year, it might be more like June of next year. You can expect the project would last 18 to 24 months. So now we're already really 3 years down the road by the time all this happens. It gives me plenty of time to address parking, since it isn't going to happen, because those buildings aren't going to go up really fast and get them occupied. Why would we do this? Well, as we look at our community, we look at our organization, to be able to continue to thrive, if, tongue-in-cheek, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's not just, and what I mean more importantly about that is financially, if our organization is not growing, what good have we done if we're not here for our residents when they need us? So part of that is we are in a great position where we currently have no debt. And I expected a question like that. I am not anticipating that we would have to take on any debt to pay for this project. How much is the project? We're estimating the project currently at about $50 million. Why? Because we get an entrance fee as we go through that. So we're able to do this, add 80 units, add no debt. It also helps us balance entrance fees and monthly service fees as we continue to move into the future. Because while I'd like to promise that I'm not going to hit you with a 10 or 12% increase in your monthly service fees, if we have another pandemic, I don't have another ace in the hole currently. I'll explain that to you. This is how this worked. Only because we had 68 villas coming online with Valencia Landing right at the right time. Instead of passing across 10 or 12% increases to yourselves 2 years in a row, what we did is we used the new dollars that we had to be able to pay for that. That money went to moving employee wages 2.5 years ahead of time to move them to $15 an hour. That was all part of a bigger plan. There are costs that we've incurred that we've never passed on to you. And I can tell you there are communities that did 2 increase in monthly service fees a year after the pandemic. I think you got a pretty reasonable increase after the pandemic. I think the largest one was 5%. Our cost rate went up far more than that, but we tried to absorb that. The other thing about it is what would $30 million in debt mean to John Knox, and what would we have to do? That means at the very minimum, I have to budget and I have to show bankers that I'm going to make somewhere in excess of $3 million a year just to pay the annual debt. I don't have to go to my board and I don't have to ask them to that for $3 million, because operations needs to pay for the debt that we have. We're not in that position. That's a great position to be in. I can price most of our products close to market, and I don't even have to be at market on many of our products. And what I mean by products is 1 studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedroom units. That's what I mean by products. So we have more flexibility in what we do because we don't have debt. But if we don't look at growing, the only way I can grow is doing what? I think I heard it. Raise monthly service fees. And raise more monthly service fees more than the current 3.5% that's on the Consumer Price Index sheet. Okay?
Has Orange City approved this yet?
Nope, we haven't taken it to Orange City yet. Now, the question is yes, we are going to have to ask Orange City for a couple of variances. We're going to have to ask them for a height variance, but the density for population is designated as medium density 2 residential. And so that is 8 units per acre. So we know we can go up to 80, but we would have to ask them for, and there's some other things, like we anticipate having to put a lift station there. We're going to have a pond. That's why we're going to just put a pond there. And we wouldn't expect for my Water people that are at home listening, you know who you are. We wouldn't expect there to be one single drop to have to leave that 10 acres and go anywhere else. It should be able to go either within the dry pond, the pond that we have, or it would be drained to somewhere else within our property. Yes, ma'am.
2 questions. What is the anticipated cost of the units? And number 2, are you going to buy any more property on Rose, those 2 homes? Does that require purchasing those?
Do you really want that strategy yet rolled out here? The homes on Rose, those people know that we would love to have their homes. All right, it's the lady, and we have to hold out on the lady on the back of Holly Branch on Graves. She knows that we want her own, and she's going to let it fall around her. However, the board has a pretty good policy, and that is they will pay, if you have an appraisal value and you have a market rate, the board will pay market rate. We're not going to pay $200,000 above market rate for your home. It's just going to sit there. So as we acquire property, the board has a policy, is if there's any property that's adjacent to John Knox Village and it is within certain parameters, i.e. market rate, they will normally give us authority to go ahead and purchase that. And yes, as those homes come up on Rose, yes, we will make sure that we are first in line. The other thing is, do we know what the pricing is for these? At this time, we do not. Now, we don't know that because our pricing is going to be based on construction. Some of you are going to get this, some of you are going to not. We like to be able to pay for anything we build in its first life cycle. And what I mean by that is, if it costs us $100,000 to build it, we want to be able to recover that same $100,000 to pay for it. We don't have to make more. We just want to make it. That's how we can do this without taking on any debt. Now, as construction costs rise faster, that sometimes is hard to do. I have a buddy who has a community and they're building an 11-story tower. They took a bond issue of $225 million. The first 3 stories of that building is parking. So he's got 8 stories now to do it. So if you want to be on the 11th floor, you want to guess what the entrance fee for the 11th floor is? It's $2.2 million. Right now it's guesstimated to be between $2.2 and $2.8 million. Now, you must really want to live there bad if that's what you want to pay. Now, I will also point out is that their monthly service fee does not include dining. They happen to be one of many communities that carve out dining separate, and no, you don't have a choice. Where we carve out of our $3,000 entrance or our $3,000 monthly service fee, we give you $486 for dining. They give you $500, but it's outside that $3,000. So you're automatically paying $3,500, not $3,000. So why? Because you all have friends that are going to be smart shoppers too. And those are some of the questions that you need to look at. All right. Other questions? Great questions. I wanted to give you, we can resolve some of the issues in regards to parking. I look forward to being able to do that. Hopefully this has been informative and semi-fun. Now you know why I wanted to hurry up to it, because I knew it would take a little bit of time to run it off. So if you don't, yes ma'am, one more question.
Or Cambridge College is?
Cambridge College is in Lake Mary. Yep. All right, have a great day.